All right, everyone. So we're back with the 580 Show, episode 112. Myself, Jason Frawley, Dante Petrella. And we got a special guest, Mr. Ralph Avalone, joining us again on the program. What's up, Ralph?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me back.
We got you this time. We got
Yeah,
you this
old
time.
man learned how to use technology, huh?
Yeah, it was funny because we had you on in September, when all the talk just started to pick up about the Ragnarok game, and um, and then we had you on. It was, is it real? Is it fake? Because that was kind of the rumor in the mill. And then you were on, and you didn't have a video, so that kind of almost added to the mystique
Right.
and like the mystery of Ralph Avalon and the Ragnarok games. So,
I
but since
tried, man.
then,
I got to.
yeah, no,
Right.
we
I was
saw
going
you. That
between
was
the
the
phone, the
frustrating part.
computer. It was.
Yeah, no, but I think since then you've made a handful of public appearances, and the promotion for the Ragnarok games has kind of grown and grown. And we had you on. I think we were maybe the first, if not one of the first podcasts you went on and talked about it.
Yep.
And since then it's just come such a long way. Pros and bigger names have jumped on board on the men and women's side. Different country people we haven't heard of from different countries. You maybe just see them on Instagram or something like that. Um, and and yeah, it's just a lot to talk about, and we're just glad to have you back on.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate the opportunity. I sure do.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Ragnarok Games is taking place February 24th to the 26th, right? So the contest will be what, the 25th and 26th.
Yeah, weigh-ins will start at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the event venue.
Yeah,
A lot of athletes to get through, so that's going to take a while. We've got probably 6 weigh stations set up so we can expedite getting to the athlete meeting promptly at 7, because the next day is going to be a pretty long day. 6 events in
yeah,
one day. Yep.
yeah. I was gonna get to that. So yeah, we're looking at what, 6 events on day one and 4 or 5 on day two.
Yeah, 4 or possibly 5 on day 2. We're gonna see how day 1 goes time. We've calculated the time every which way from Wednesday. We've increased the lanes from 5 lanes to 6 lanes. The first event, the Thor Hammer Hold, will be going 10 athletes at a time.
Wow.
We should be able to get that event done in probably an hour and 15 minutes with 3 minutes in between each, tranche of 10 athletes. So we've really tried to, sharpen the pencil in regards to giving the athletes the best experience. A lot of these bigger shows, it's a super long day, and we don't want to make the athletes sitting there for 12, 14 hours to get through the event. So we're pretty confident that we've got to a point where the expediting team, Mike Della Pava from Battle Axe Gym, a phenomenal expediter. We have 2 conference calls a week, 1 in-person meeting a week, and we think we've got it down.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, it's going to be a big show. How many people are you guys expecting?
That was my question.
Athletes or attendees?
Athletes.
Okay, athletes, we are just at 206. But an incredible story here. We've had a total of 320 athletes register. Out of the 320 athletes that have registered, over 120 have dropped out for some reason. One reason being international athletes didn't really want to get the vaccine, so they decided they weren't gonna come. Some athletes, as you know, in these things, they have injuries. Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't attend, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Some athletes, when we announced that we were going to open up a non-binary category, we lost 24 athletes overnight.
Yeah.
But the good news is that between the 120 that dropped out, we still maintained over 200. And we still had a list of 196 athletes that wanted to compete. And now that list has grown now, obviously, with the growth of the show, and people spreading the word and people coming to the Instagram page and seeing the post. And we've already got a running list for next year.
That's awesome. I mean,
Wow.
for your first time promoting a strongman contest and to have 206 and over 300 interested, that's impressive feat on it, by itself.
Well, I got to be honest, blown away,
Yeah.
just blown away. I had hoped that when I planned to host the Ragnarok Games, that I was going so far outside the box in regards to what athletes were used to. And the way I really wanted to give the athletes an experience like they were being treated like rock stars. That was my main goal. And, I know what's going to happen in the Ragnarok Games. I know the presentation. I know what the production is going to be. But I got to tell you, man, I'm 55 years old and I can't sleep at night because it's like the night before a class trip when you're a little kid. You just wonder what's going to go on. Seeing the athletes, minds just get blown time after time. There are so many things we didn't announce that are going to unfold that are going to be absolutely mind-numbing. So we're super excited for the athletes.
Yeah, no, you've done a great job with the promotion and getting people on board, like Magnus, and even like little stuff like the Peyton Parrish guy.
That's not little.
Yeah,
Out of everything that I've done, I tell people I can't believe I got that done.
yeah, that's
When
crazy.
I reached out, it's a
you want
funny.
to explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so I competed in the World Strength Games last year, and I met this guy Joe Cruci, who's competing in the Ragnarok Games. He was one of the first people to sign up. And a couple days later, he sends me a text and he's like, a Spotify link. And he says, dude, listen to this song. And I didn't know this song existed, right? And I listened to the Ragnarok song by Peyton Parrish. I'm like, oh my God, that's got to be like the theme song to the event. So I started going on Instagram and I saw this guy. At the time, 9.5 months ago, when I reached out to him, he had 2,200 followers on Instagram. And I reached out to him and I said, hey, brother, I really like you to come and perform at the Ragnarok Games. He was like, wow, that sounds really cool. I explained to him that a lot of the strongman community lives by the Viking ethos and they listen to his music. And he didn't even know that he had that kind of following. So he was super excited. About 2 weeks after we talked, he was in negotiations with Disney to sign on to do the soundtrack to their next animated film. Now they liked his voice so much that on February 24th, he's actually releasing every single main Disney movie's song on his own soundtrack with Disney. So when he announced the Disney collaboration, he went from 2,200 followers to 2.2 million. So now I'm panicking. I'm reaching out to him on his Instagram. I never got his cell number, never got his email address. So I'm reaching out to him and I'm just getting lost in a sea of other fans. Just so happens about a month and a half ago, I'm scrolling Instagram about 10 o'clock at night, liking athletes' posts and stuff. And I see Peyton Parrish goes live. So I go to Peyton Parrish's page as the Ragnarok page. And I'm like, Peyton, what the hell happened, man? I thought you were coming to perform. He's like, holy shit, Ralph, where'd you go? I was like, I can't get in touch with you. He said, I will have my agent get in touch with you on Monday. Then I left, went on Ragnarok page, posted for the athletes to go on Peyton's page and bombard him that he's got to perform. So we had like 150 athletes reach out to him and say, come perform at the Ragnarok Games. Sure as shit, Monday morning, his manager from London reached out and said, hey, Peyton wants to do this. How do we make it work? And we got it done, and his posts are averaging between 110 to 250,000 reach in less than a week's time. So we're pretty ecstatic. He's super excited. The athletes' minds are literally going to be blown when this guy takes the stage.
Yeah, you bought stock pretty early in Peyton Parrish there. 22K to million. That's absolutely nuts.
It's mind-numbing.
So, I guess this just like we've talked about it a little bit so far, but we're 3 weeks away now. We talked to you. I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, we talked to you in September, and it was like all this stuff starting to buzz and circulate, and you're in Facebook, you're in these different chats, and we're like, hey, just talk to him, So I reached out and you were very friendly, texted me right back, and we've texted since, but September to now, 3 weeks away. How do you feel, Ralph? I mean, I know you said you're excited, you can't sleep. How just explain to me, kind of how everything's come together.
Well, we knew that there were some naysayers in the beginning, and I expected that early on. First time promoter in the strongman industry. I think I explained last time I was on the show. I've been an expo promoter for 15 years, just not in this sport. So I had experience of that back room, and I knew if I brought that to the table, that back room, that I thought I could make a great event. But knowing that people were talking and the strongman community was a really small community, we started having teleconferences with pro men athletes that were thinking about competing, heard the rumors, blah, blah, blah. And that was probably one of the best things that we did, is actually opening up to the athletes saying, hey, what do you want to see us to do in the show? You know, and I got to tell you, some of these pro athletes, both men and women, the questions that they asked were amazing, you know, and we took it to heart and we said, okay, so let's do this better, you know. And then once we proved to those pro athletes that we were going to do it better, they're like, all right, I'm registering, I'm coming. Wherever the chips fall, I'm coming, you know. And then we announced at the Florida Strongest Man competition that what we plan on doing, we've done a lot of things that are so far outside the box of the norm. People say you didn't even have to do that much, but it wasn't that hard to do what we've done. But one of the most amazing things is we now have 15 promoters across the planet that want to hire Captain Core Productions to help them produce their events. So that's something else that we have to think about. But the best thing that I think happened that really started making things gel was we created collaborative agreements with other promoters and gyms, strongman gyms throughout the world, that if they helped us market, we would help them in return. So we actually signed agreements, legal agreements with these worldwide promoters for events and gym owners. And we gave them a list of what we're going to do for them. You know, same thing with sponsors. You know, we went to the sponsors and we said, hey, you know, hey, we know we're a first year event for strongman promotion. Keep your money. We don't want your money. We want to prove to you that we can perform and give you the viewer numbers and the attendees. And then you make a decision for our next event if you're going to come on board. Well, because we said that, most of these sponsors, once they saw that we were fulfilling our obligations of marketing them through our social media and bringing them pro athletes to work with for those companies to sponsor those athletes, we proved our worth to them. They said, listen, let us give you money. Was I going to say no?
Right.
So we said, okay, what do you want to do? And before we knew it, it was 2,500 here, 5,000 there, 10,000 there, $20,000 from Blackstone Labs. You know, Blackstone Labs was probably the biggest land that we had so far to date. And I don't know if you saw our announcement today. We just landed rain at the 11th hour.
I just saw that.
But you know, Blackstone, I went to Blackstone. They happened to be in my hometown here in Boca. And I did a presentation like a normal business would. I did a presentation. I showed them the deficiency in their marketing to the strongman community and their involvement in the strongman community and the financial and demographic numbers of how the strong game is growing worldwide. And once I proved that to them, they're like, how much of a check do you want us to write? You know, and that's phenomenal, you know. But the greatest thing about the sponsors is we have 20 sponsors who have never sponsored a strongman competition before. And that's good for all of strongman, you know. But we've also gone out to those collaborative partners and smaller regional shows and said, let us help you grow your show. Here's an email database of over 400 companies that we reached out to for sponsorship. Why don't you try to fly fish and see what you can get? And we gave that freely. Because what's good about that is you help other smaller shows. They're going to help you promote your show. It's going to create long-term relationships. And the collaboration is just going to grow and grow and grow along strongman. And the entire sport is lifted.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So let me ask you a question. On February 27th, when you wake up, Ralph, so Ragnarok Games is over, you know, the first one. What makes it a success in your eyes, in your opinion, when you wake up that morning?
Well, you know, me and my partner, Ron, we talk about this all day. My partner is a former hedge fund guy, and he's the numbers guy. And he comes to me every time I have a look on my face of anxiety, and he's like, look, I've done this for a living. There's only an upside to what we've done. You know, obviously, as a promoter, you want to at least break even. I think the crash and burn is break even. We're closing in on $250,000 of investment on this event. But a lot of that is capital investment too. You know, I had a weight sponsor that was going to sponsor 4,500 pounds and 45 plates. 7 days ago, he broke his partnership with the gym owner, and now we didn't have those weights. So I just had to spend $10,000 on 45-pound plates for the event, and it's fine. But
Yeah.
a lot of that $250,000 is capital investment on equipment and things we won't have to purchase again.
Yeah.
You know, we plan on doing this for the long haul. We will announce tomorrow. When will this air?
Sunday.
Okay, so tomorrow we'll announce that we have completed our agreements and we will take over the production of the World Strength Games. It will be September 9th and 10th back here in Miami. And we are negotiating with a big name in strongman to put his name on the World Strength Games and be a co-collaborator with us on that. And we've already set the date for Ragnarok Games 2024. That'll be February 17th and 18th, 2024. We've actually booked 2 venues, the Miami Airport Convention Center again, and the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. What we're hoping is that we can negotiate with Peyton to sign him on to come back for next year's Ragnarok and do a full-blown 30,000 seat venue, full-blown concert for him on Sunday night, and have the Ragnarok Games 4 days next year, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Wow. You know, and it's something that I've noticed here recently is a lot of people that we respect and we work with have begun working with you at the Ragnarok Games. So, for example, Hosswear,
Yep.
You know, they made your shirts.
Great bunch of guys, and I got to put a shout out to them. We, one of our main nonprofits for the event is an organization that I sit on the board of called I Am Adaptive. We assist adaptive athletes, amputee athletes, wheelchair athletes compete in extreme sports. And, you know, it's in a tough economy. All nonprofits are fighting for food just to keep the lights on. And Haas actually donated 5 dozen T-shirts for that organization to sell at the event. So I want to give a shout out to those boys.
They're an awesome group of guys, and we use their shirts for every event and everything. Every piece of merch we do for the gym is through them, and those shirts came out awesome, by the way.
Ours did too.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Yours look awesome.
Oh
like,
yeah,
the shirts look so cool.
Yeah,
and,
we did athletes' names, 2 shirts, 1 for each day competition. We did volunteer shirts with them. We did all of our. We created 4 different Ragnarok Games logos to go on shirts to sell at the event. So. The end of the day, we really, I was happy to give Haas the work because I know that these guys were doing it part-time and they finally got their own place and we're going to go full-time. And you know, we're committed to them for the long haul.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Mike Bardos, you know, so we live only 45 minutes from Mike Bardos, MB Power Center. And Mike is an amazing guy. And I've learned so much from Mike since opening my gym. And, all our squat racks are by Mike, our farmer. You know, we have a lot of equipment by him, and he makes truly the best stuff. So any competitors to the Ragnarok Games listening, if you're using MB Power Center stuff, and that's a great investment on your end because you'll have that for every single Ragnarok Games because it'll never break.
Well, I got to tell you, Mike and I had a conversation the other night because we've decided that next year's Ragnarok Games, the pro division will do completely different events than the novice through masters and women. And I started sending him pictures of things that I wanted to do. And he is very excited to start fabricating some of these events. You know, we want to bring back the grandeur of World's Strongest Man from back in the mid 70s and 80s. They did so outside the box events, you know, that now it's such cookie cutter. Everybody's doing a sandbag throw and this carry and that carry. We want to really go outside the box and build some really fabulous stuff. I got to give a shout out to Rogue. I mean, Rogue's Invitational this year, the equipment that they built.
Oh, it was awesome.
Absolutely mind-numbing. It was amazing. That was an amazing event. And I'm not saying it to get Rogue on board. I'm just saying I'm going to promotion company to another. It was a great, well-run show.
Yeah, we had a full episode like the weekend after the Rogue Invitation, and we said the exact same thing. Like that Roga coaster, just
crazy.
I mean, it was cool.
It was beautiful. The equipment was beautiful.
It was
Lumber
like,
and iron. It was amazing.
yeah, it was like if you took what you're saying, like the early strongman's, like early world strongest man, but then made it in 2022.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know what I mean? It was just a blast from the past. So,
Yeah.
so you had mentioned that, you know, we are what, up from 5 to 6 lanes on some, you know, 10 lanes for the front hold. How many volunteers do you have? I
We
mean,
have 50 volunteers.
wow, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Not including our expediting team. So our
yeah,
expediting team is probably 15 to 20. We've got some of the best judges in strongman that have agreed to come and judge for us. But you know, we're even going outside the box with volunteers. You know, we're giving our volunteer. You know, I know that these people are super passionate. You know, about the sport, and I love that. But you know, we want to give back to them for volunteering their time, because these days are long days. And so what we've decided to do is we're giving them 2 free VIP tickets for family members to attend. We're also giving them $150 Ragnarok American Express cards for them to use for meals for the 2 days. We're giving them a $50 credit at the Ragnarok merch booth. And tomorrow I'm going down to Miami, and we've got probably about 25 of the 50 volunteers coming to a breakfast that we're having at the Battle Axe Gym tomorrow.
nice. You know, Mike from the Battle Axe Gym, who you've kind of, or like, he's kind of one of your OG partners with this, right? And I'll just say, like, I actually met Mike at my first nationals a couple of years ago, and he was recently on the Elite FTS podcast, which I know was probably a huge deal for him, and
Huge
he's
deal.
just so well spoken.
And you know what? You look at him, man, and people judge him. And I got to tell you, he's one of the smartest men I've met in my life. And
yeah,
you know, you can't judge a book by its cover. He also
100%.
he's a beast in the gym. I wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley, but he's a big teddy bear to the people he loves.
Yeah.
You know, and that's amazing.
The very first time I met him, he was so genuine. Didn't know me. We had a mutual friend, and he introduced me. I think I actually believe I was with Dante when I met him, and I've just kind of followed him since and listened to him. And like listening to him on the Elite FTS podcast really sent like chills down my spine, because he was so well spoken, and he puts out a lot of good content. So that's a good guy to have on your team.
And that's why I think his Battle Axe clan, you know, he calls it the Battle Axe clan. They are so committed to him. And, you know, I hope you guys will tune into the live stream. I'd love for you guys to be there, but I'd love you to tune into the live stream. He is the head of an orchestra when he expedites. Usually you see expeditors are like, load that, do this, do that. Mike, he'll have a pair of horn-rimmed black glasses on and a clipboard. And he has hand signals that he sends to his team, or a look, and they just know what to do. And, you know, it goes back to what I said in our first podcast. I went to Mike before I decided to do this, and I said, brother, I will not do this without you. I cannot do this without you, you know. And I'm so glad to have surrounded myself with people like Mike, and so many other great people, you know, came out of the woodwork and said, this is a great thing you're doing for strongman. What can we do to help? You know, and it really surprised me. You know, it really surprised me.
That's awesome. You touched on the live stream, and the live stream's available for purchase now, correct? So it's right on the website. They have a drop down, because a couple of the questions that we had submitted to us was how to buy the live stream. So you can go right to the site. I was on it actually right before we recorded, and so for 2 days you can actually purchase the live stream for just $24.99.
Yeah, $24.95.
So how do you picture live stream being like, you know, a real professional? I know we talked about it last time, but not everyone listened last time. And
well, you know, a lot of these streams from these shows that the athletes have gotten, and their relatives and friends and you know, gym buddies have gotten used to one single wide angle of the floor, and everybody looks this small in the distance. And you're like, oh, is that John? Yeah, that's John. This will be the first strongman event that will be filmed by 4 camera crews simultaneously, getting different angles of every spot of movement that's going on. And we'll be filming and we'll be transmitting in Ultra 5K. You will literally see sweat coming from the brows of these athletes as they compete in the events, you know?
Yeah. Now, is Mike announcing the live stream?
No, I will be the announcer.
Okay, cool.
Co-announcing with, I'll be trading off, with Magnus and Bill Kazmaier.
Wow. Yeah, that's a little subtle flex right there. Those are two good names to have with you.
Yeah.
But that's awesome.
Well, me and Magnus got real close at America's Strongest Man. It was the first time we met in person. We were able to spend some real good quality time. And I'd like to say, and I believe Magnus believes, that we've grown into, being brothers. I'm thankful for that. He's been a great voice of reason. The first thing Magnus said to me was, "The fucking show is heavy." I said, well, that's what we're aiming for. We want this to be one of the toughest strongman competitions ever. And he said, you're bringing back the old days when things were heavy. He said, when the strongest athletes really competed in these events,
Magnus, I'm thankful for him. When you were on last time, he actually sent me a message and reposted our the episode that you were on. So I was really thankful for that.
Awesome,
that was really cool to
human being, man.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too hard to convince him. Our overall pro man winner will have a special invitation to compete in his Magnus Classic.
Sure.
We're working with a couple of other major promoters to have our pro athletes also be invited to their events. We announced that we will be issuing 8 pro cards to our open division, the Ragnarok Pro card, and what that will mean. We're very excited about that. It's going to be a different type of event, that's for sure.
That's cool. So actually, Nick Canby actually asked this question when we put out questions. So another big name, but so the 20,000 pro prize pool, is that winner take all, or is it?
No, it's broken down amongst the top 5. However, getting back to the pay-per-view, we announced at the Florida Strongest Man competition that once my partner sees in real time that we reach the break-even point on pay-per-view, we will be incrementally raising the pro purses for men and women according to the profit margin that's being acclimated through pay-per-view and ticket sales. So as that raises, so does the gate.
Cool.
We're hoping in a perfect world. We're hoping in a perfect world. I mean, there's no way to figure who's going to view, right?
Right.
With agreements that we've signed with athletes, with Peyton Parrish, we have a 48 million person reach on social media. The way algorithms work is between 2.5% and 7.5% will be interested in the event. Out of that ratio, between 2.5% and 5% will pull the trigger and watch the event. I don't have to tell you how big that number is. We're hoping that we will be able to, with success of pay-per-view, be able to issue the largest prize purse gate in strongman history.
That'd be awesome. So will it be top 5 men, and how will the women work? The pro women.
Same
top
thing.
5.
$10,000 will be split, but again.
For sure. But so the top 5 men and pro women will walk away with some type of cash.
Yes, we've also said really cool. As we raise the gate, the prize money trickles down to top 7, top 8, top 9, top 10.
Oh wow, yeah, that's cool.
And if we do really well, we will announce that we're going to give cash awards to the open division top 3 as well.
Wow. Nice, that's really cool. That's really cool. Is there anything else you kind of want to just say, about the games? Anything to people listening that are thinking about buying it? I always encourage people to buy live streams for strongmen, whether it's a local one just on YouTube to tune in, or a really big one like this. Definitely buy this one because it sounds like it's going to be a really good production. I hope it turns out as awesome as you're saying, and I'll be watching. But is there the people that are thinking about buying, don't really know too much? What do you have to say to them? Anything kind of closing remarks?
Well, it always comes back to my first discussion with Mike Delapava Battle Axe. Mike said, tell me why you want to do this. And I said 2 reasons. I said, 1, I want the athletes who compete in Ragnarok at the end of those 2 days to say, what in the hell did I just put my body through? And oh my God, that was awesome. And I want the athletes that did not compete to say, I missed out on an amazing opportunity, and I'm gonna register for next year. It rings true for the viewers as well. this event will be so visually appealing in Ultra 5K with 4 camera crews up in the face. We've already started negotiating with major syndication stations that should we get the pay-per-viewers that we believe we're projected to get, we will quickly edit this entire competition and we will go to the highest bidder of the major networks to air it at a later date. We believe that that's how great the quality of this event will be.
That's really cool.
And we have right now we're up to 14 world records that are going to be attempted to be broken at Ragnarok Games, which is it sets a record for a strongman competition. So just a lot of action. We believe that the nature of this will be Sunday will be a better day for viewers than Saturday, because the people who do tune in on Saturday are going to reach out to everybody they know in strongman and say, you got to watch day 2. So
yeah, that's really, really awesome. I'm looking forward to it just finally happening, because we've talked about it and I've heard about it in chats for what feels like almost a year now, and getting to know you a little bit now, Ralph. I'm excited, and I hope the whole weekend just kind of comes together for you guys and your team.
Thank you, man. Quickest 9 months of my life, that's for sure.
Probably Dante, any closing remarks for Ralph? I know we talked about a lot of different stuff, and I'm just thankful for the time, Ralph, and coming on the pod.
The only real thing I'd mentioned it before we started. Just starting to see a lot more athletes actually posting posting training content and actually promoting the event. A lot more people that we talk or that I routinely follow are talking about the event much more now that we're getting within the month of the event. There's a lot of OSG competitors are competing at the Ragnarok Games. A lot of people who are pretty good strongmen and women. So the representation is going to be there. It will be awesome to see how they do at the show. It'll be awesome to see how the show runs. It sounds like you really carried through on the ideas that you've had, Ralph. And when we talked about this initially, your ideas were a little bit off the wall, and people were like, "There's no way that this is going to get pulled off," right? But here we are, 3 weeks out, and pretty much everything you said you were going to do, we're talking about how it's going to be executed.
Listen, the pioneers are always the ones with the arrows in the wagon,
right?
And I knew that going in, but I also knew how committed I was to fulfill, what I had promised we would do with Ragnarok Games. But I think in the end, it came down to communication. I have athletes reach out to me every day saying, I can't believe you're accessible. That if I text you, you answer me. If I send you an Instagram message, you give me an answer, or you direct me to the website. I can't believe the promotion. I can't believe all you're doing. I mean, the goodie bags alone that these athletes are going to take home, they're literally going to need a suitcase. I swear to God. I bought 400 goodie bags, and when they got here, I was like, that they're too small. Everything's not going to fit in there. But I even reached out to American Tourister and said, do you want to be a sponsor and sponsor us 210 small suitcases? I didn't get an answer from them, but that's how much stuff these athletes are getting, and getting back to the sponsors real quick, if I may. The great thing about the sponsors is mostly the ones who have never been in strongman before, they are doing business with their association with us already. And they're already committing to other strongman shows. I have regional promoters saying, hey, do you think you could reach out to Barbell Jack for me? Or can you reach out to this one for me? And I give them the information, and I kind of advocate for them with a sponsor, and they get a small contribution. I had one athlete come to me and say, hey, listen, I know you just got Blackstone. Can you talk to him about, being our pay-per-view sponsor? I had a meeting with Blackstone yesterday, brought the hammer there, and that's what I did. I said, listen, there's a small strongman show. They need a $1,500 pay-per-view sponsor. Do you think you could do it? And they're like, yeah, we'll do it. You never know what you're going to get unless you ask the question. If
Sure.
you're prepared for no, then you'll accept no. But I got to say, you'll be pleasantly surprised with the yeses that you get.
Yeah. I think just in closing, I remember from the first episode, you said you just wanted a chance. Like you just wanted a fair chance.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to come, don't come. If you don't want to watch, don't watch. But just let me do this and let me try this. And um, strongman can be, it's a niche thing, and you mentioned at the beginning it's small, and sometimes it's a boys club. It's the older people that don't want to let newer people in, and I know that's something we've been frustrated with over the years, and because we just want to have a good time and lift and encourage everyone, and just grow the sport. That's our main mission.
And that's
And
it. The
so
success of
I yep.
Ragnarok will lift the entire strongman game up to a new echelon.
Well, yeah, and that was just something that stood out from me. And now here we are, we're 3 weeks out. You got your chance, and I really wish you good luck, in 3 weeks. And I really do. I am one of the people that is kind of having FOMO now, and I do kind of wish I was gonna be able to be there now. But
I got
you know what I mean?
and a lot of people. We've had a lot of pro athletes that came up against us in the beginning, saying, "Hey, can I come?" And we're like, "Listen, shirts are already printed. It would be unprofessional for us to do that, but definitely next year, come next year, we really tried to get Rongo Green here. He was having a problem getting his visa. We drafted letters to the State Department, and we were hoping to get him at the 11th hour, but it just didn't pan out. Balderot was interested, and then he got a little injured, and he said, I gotta say, I'll definitely come next year, but this year I got to concentrate on the Arnolds. And we understand that, you know what I mean? That Arnolds is a big title. It's a week after our event, and we think that affected us somewhat. We think got a lot more pro men and open guys to come into our event. But hey, at the end of the day, and not too shabby to shake a stick at just over 200 athletes competing in a first year event. So
Not at all. Well, Ralph, our title of our first episode was "Is the Ragnarok Games Real?" Is it going to be real in 3 weeks?
Yeah, listen.
He said it was real first.
$250,000 real into it. So I certainly hope so.
No, I believe it. But everyone, be sure to buy the live stream. You can go to the ragnarokgames.com. All the information's there, the weight matrix, all the information, how to buy the live stream, everything is on there.
Yeah, we have a separate website for the live stream too. It's ragnarokgameslive.com. It's a totally separate domain. Has the capability of 50 million viewers. We made sure that we can go that high. Not that we expect to go that high, but with God's grace, we'll make a pretty decent number. And I'll close with this. We're sending a plea out to our athletes about a week before, saying, help us make this as great as we know it can. And we've tested the waters with some of those athletes, and you referred to seeing some of those athletes posted. They're grateful to be able to post it. And every one of them is like, yeah, man, I'll definitely do it. And we're going to need that. We want to raise these purses for these athletes. We want to trickle that down to the open categories. We get that pay-per-view number to a big number, man. It's going to trickle down, and it's going to be a phenomenal money event for the athletes.
Awesome. Well, guys, everyone, if you enjoy strongman, be sure to buy the live stream. It's $24.95 for the whole weekend. You're going to get 10 to 11 events of strongman.
Performances by Peyton Parrish.
Performances, the whole deal, live commentary, everything.
Are they going to be able to watch replays on the live stream?
Don't know.
Okay.
Don't know. Possibly.
Okay, I'm just curious.
I'll reach out to our tech guy tomorrow and say, give me the option for replays.
But Ralph, thank you so much for your time. And like I said, everyone be sure to support it. If you guys like the video, make sure you guys like it, comment, subscribe to our channel, and help us continue to help grow strongman like Ralph's trying to do as well. And Ralph, good luck. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys. And hopefully I can come back on the show a month or so after I catch my breath from Ragnarok's over, and we can talk about what a success Ragnarok Games was.
Of course, looking forward to it. Thanks, Ralph.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Ralph.
You well.